As a panelist, I'd like to call upon stage Mr. Onurgho Uttio Chaudhuri, Director, Anjali Jewellers Private Limited. Please put your hands together for Mr. Chaudhuri. Co-founder, Nestasia, Mr. Anurag Agarwal. Bikramjit Ghosh, Director, Banchharam Food Products Private Limited. CEO, Imami Frank Cross Limited, Mr. Gautam Jatia. Marketing Director, Khosla Electronics, Founder, KG Electronics and Home Appliances, Khushbu Khosla Gupta ma'am. Ritik Roy Burman, Executive Director, Khadim India Private Limited. Can we have some applause, please? Mr. Shirshendu Mukherjee, COO, Trailblazing. Director, Skipper Furnishing, Mr. Tonoy Agarwal. And to moderate the session, please welcome on stage Mr. Praveen Govindu, Partner, Deloitte. It's really an honor to have you on stage right now as our moderator, Mr. Praveen Govindu, Partner, Deloitte. Thank you. The stage is all yours now.
Thank you so much. Very good afternoon, friends. Great opportunity to talk to some of the best known brands that at least we've all experienced. The topic for today's conversation is how can we unlock growth looking at the consumer, right, given the various consumer segments. I think we've got an introduction of all of them. I hope you've heard. Sorry, all okay? I hope you all can hear me from here. Yeah. Just quick introduction from my side. Praveen Govindu, a partner with the Deloitte consulting practice based in Bangalore. Do a lot of work in consumer markets and retail from a growth standpoint. So it will be nice to interact with this esteemed panel members today. The idea of this discussion is we will try and understand from them how they have actually been unlocking value, unlocking growth across their business, their brand, looking at how the consumer has changed, looking at how channels of consumption have changed. I think the previous panel spoke about Gen Zs, Millennials, right? A good statistic we were talking backstage. Now there are 38 crore Gen Z. So Gen Z now is the largest consumer segment in India. Millennials was before this, but now Gen Z is 38, Millennials I think about 36 crores. Gen X is now in minority, 26 crores or something, right? So a lot of new consumer segments emerging. Their buying behaviors are very different. Multiple different channels are emerging. A lot of panel members spoke about quick commerce. Of course, the way you interact with technology is changing from digital to AI now. The kind of diversity we have in geographies is quite different. We have metro consumers, we have tier 1, tier 2, rural consumer also being very aspirational. So there are various kinds of consumer segments that we see in the country. So let's move forward in understanding how our panel members have actually seen growth pan out, right? So probably I'll start with Mr. Gautam. And Mr. Gautam also has a flight to catch, so we'll see if we can wrap this up fast as well. So from your perspective, Mr. Gautam, of course, you are in a sector which is an essential, at the same time also seeing competitive pressures. So from your perspective, what have you done, let's say, in the last few years to actually grow in that space? And how did you address these various consumer segments, their requirements, and their behaviors? Your perspective will really help.
So, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Praveen, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this panel and share some learnings from our industry. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Gautam Jatia, and I head two popular brands which had their birth in Calcutta. One is Frank Cross Pharmacy, which was set up in 1906, and it's probably the oldest pharmacy chain in the country. And I look after another business which is very diverse, very different. That is the Starmark bookstore chain. So while one is a very essential commodity, buying books and stationery is totally discretionary. And both these businesses have been severely impacted by technology. If I look at my book business, I remember in the 1990s, when Amazon was, founded. In India, if you wanted to buy a book, you had to go to the bookstore, and there was no concept of online. And then we had Amazon coming in, we had the internet coming in. So today, if you want to gather any information, it's free on the net. So then we also used to sell music, which got disrupted a lot. I remember we used to sell video cassettes, then we used to sell CDs, and then everything became digital and MP3. Similarly, we used to sell movies. So my industry has got disrupted a lot. And if I look at medicines, it's a very essential commodity. It's got a huge market. The market size is more than 2 lakh crores. And the challenge with the pharma business is that how do you differentiate? The demand comes from the doctor. The retailer cannot generate demand. It's the doctor's prescription which generates demand. And almost everyone has the same medicines, meaning a chain like us with 300 plus stores and a mom and pop store in your neighborhood, probably they'll carry the similar inventory. It's only maybe our margins are better because we have buying efficiencies. So, like you said, how can we grow? How can we make our business profitable? So, I want to share an interesting case study. We took over a small company in Bangalore by the name of Relics. And what this company was doing was very interesting. They were focusing on chronic care. And their target was diabetes patients. And today diabetes is an epidemic in India, thanks to our diet and thanks to our genetics. So what these people were doing is very interesting. They were charging 100 rupees subscription per month. Now, can you imagine in today's day and age where everybody is discounting so heavily? Somebody is giving 20% discount, there's somebody giving 25% discount, somebody is giving more discount than even what the manufacturers are giving to retailers. So, imagine this company was charging 100 rupees subscription every month, and they were successful with a 90% repeat buying. So what they were doing is, they make you a subscriber, they digitize your prescription, and then every month they send you your medicine without asking you for it. So the thing is, the medicine reaches your doorstep, they know how much you should consume per month, so they have a fair idea that your stock would have got over. And the funny thing is, there was a 90% acceptance. Meaning, I told them that, boss, if somebody sends medicines like this in Kolkata, there's a fair possibility that the medicines will be returned by the security guard, ki the boss is not at home, babu ghar pe nahi hai, or I don't want, I bought it from the Pada shop. It wasn't the case. 90 to 95% people were accepting the medicines. The discount was the market discount, nothing very fancy. And they were giving one additional service that when the person comes to deliver the medicine, he would take your vitals like your blood pressure, your weight, and your random blood sugar, if you wanted to, give that. And then they would digitize those vitals and put it in your personal health records so that you can monitor that over the past 1 year, how is your weight, how has been your blood pressure, how has been your random blood sugar. So I found this case study very interesting. So we took over this company. Bangalore, we've integrated it within our Frank Cross pharmacy. Kolkata, we will do it next step. So I thought this was a very interesting case where complete knowledge about the customer, their prescription, their requirements, worked very well. The another area where we found knowing your customer very well helped us was when we are catering to senior citizens. We found out that senior citizens prefer ordering medicines through the call center. The reason being, most of them are at home, most of them are lonely, and they want the human touch. And they had developed a very good rapport with the call center operator, and besides medicines, they used to talk a lot to them and discuss their personal problems, or they had other needs. And though we were not encouraging it, I found that it was working very well for us if we had a personalized call center guy who would deal with that particular customer. So I can share these two cases where knowing your customer really helped. I would also like to share that I read a very interesting book, The Game Changer, written by the erstwhile MD of Procter & Gamble. And there he writes in the book that whenever they develop a new product, they encourage their R&D team to actually live with the customer. Spend time with the customer as to how the customer consumes the product. He calls it the moment of truth. We always have our own conception about our service. We rarely bother to listen to our customer as to how our service is. Even if a customer gives a honest feedback, we always feel it's an outlier feedback. He's a very fussy guy. My service is fine. So I really feel that if you want to grow your business, it's very important to listen to your customer, learn from him, and then adapt your service as per his requirement. That's all.
No, that was great, Mr. Gautam, because I think you spoke about how you tapped into this specific business model, right, to unlock growth in the current business. And two, you also spoke about a specific customer segment and really targeting them to, again, bring that value to the business, right? So great insights. So on that note, I'll also come to Mr. Bikramjit, to you, which is again a very similar category, which is in the space of food, right? So from, any examples you can share in terms of how you unlock growth, looking at, similar ways of understanding the consumer or catering to diverse needs of the consumer, right? For you, at end of the day, it's a taste, right? I mean, the consumer, irrespective of whether it's male, female, kid, whether high income, low income, they're all going to taste the product very similar. You can't really give them a different product end of the day. So how any example you can share in terms of how you unlock growth, in your category, in your business?
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to Praveen to giving me this opportunity to talk over here. The thing is, in our industry, we actually, I am from Banchharam, one of the team member. You can tell me your team member. We don't tell that we are the directors. We always think that we are a team member. So the thing is, in our industry, change is very important. So change means, जैसे कि हमेशा कोई बोलता है कि business बुरा हो गया. Actually, business is same. The entrepreneurs should change their mindset. So mindset should be changed so that business can grow. and thing is, in our industry, we always try to change ourselves with products, with innovations, with different ambience and giving best quality with best ambience and best service. So these are the things which we actually think that's very important for us. Again, in present scenario, the generation called Gen generation, they always try to get everything in their particular region. They need everything instant. So we have to tie up with all the e-commerce platforms, that is Zomato, that is Swiggy, that is Flipkart, that is Amazon, with everyone, so that we can actually present them. We can get anything, we can deliver anything within 1 day or instantly. So these are the things I think which is very important. And the other things are like, in our industry, we have to think like the what regions want. We actually opened our stores in Bangalore and Mumbai. From Calcutta, we have already opened our stores there. So region-wise product are very important. So you have to think like that. What region? Where are you? What are the particular products they actually need? So need of the customer is very important. You have to think like what customers actually need. So as per their need, we have to think, we have to manufacture those products and deliver. So I think these are the things which are very, very important. And obviously, product quality, integrity, and honesty is most important from our side. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
No, that was nice. You mentioned again 3 things, right? While the product itself cannot be different, experience matters. So you are trying to give the best experience, ambience, etc. You also touched upon emerging channels, instant e-com, of course, Swiggy's and all helping, supporting. But more importantly, you also said regional, right? Because in India, again, tastes are very regional. Now, as you expand, now, you've been, of course, pretty strong, let's say, in this part of the country. But as you expand to Bangalore, Mumbai, accommodating those regional preferences and still ensuring that, the product remains true to its core, right? Correct. So that's something that you're able to also do.
Correct. Just like in Bangalore, the Mysore Pak is very they favor that.
Correct.
And in Mumbai, Petha is there. So you have to think like that.
Absolutely. No, great. So thanks so much. Now I'll come to Anurag. Similar, in fact, Anurag probably will be looking at both Frank Ross and Banchharam, right? Because you have some products which are somewhere supporting these products to also grow. But you have undertaken a journey which is very different, right? You are probably a digital native. You started off with digital channels and then grew that business, looking at probably a completely different kind of a consumer who wants to probably shop online, probably a young generation, maybe it's those young people with probably kids less than 5 years old. So how has been your journey, and what is it that you really took or leveraged from a consumer standpoint to grow your business?
Thank you so much for having me here. So my name is Anurag Agrawal. I'm the founder of a brand called Nest Asia. We are a home and lifestyle brand. We sell kitchen, decor, dining. I'm probably the youngest here in terms of, I think, both age and the age of the company also. So we started in 2020, just after COVID. And we, as you rightly said, we are a digital first brand. We started out in an era where for the first year that we were operating, nothing physical was working. So everything was digital. So we sell our products mainly to females in the age of 25 to 45, people who are very digitally active. For us, we've always identified ourselves as a social-led brand. For us, the main channel of acquiring people has been through our content. So when we sell products, our positioning has always been that we will sell products which are slightly more premium in price, but which will be significantly more premium in design. And hence we target an aspirational India, in India with rising disposable incomes, who's willing to spend a little bit more for something which will look different. And for us, creating that perception of different is very important. So via our content, which is mostly social content and which is mostly organic content, we inculcate a sense of, okay, if I am at home, how can my home be the perfect home? And how can I bring in a few things into my house which will make me feel like I have moved ahead in life? That aspiration of moving ahead is a very innate aspiration in India. Everybody wants, we are all effectively in a pursuit of happiness. And so anything which makes us feel like we are doing better is something which does well. And that's the one feeling we try to tap.
Okay. So you're essentially saying you have tapped into this innate need that, we are all unique. Somewhere we need that personalization. Somewhere I know our home is different. So can we actually have certain products which are very, very unique to us, and creating that aspirational value to some of those experiences, and then on the back of that is how you kind of looked at your entire growth journey. Yeah, perfect, great. So thanks so much. And now I'll come to Mr. Anurgo from Anjali Jewelers. So this is now, your category is very different from food, very different from medicines, right? Very different from home. So of course a very high involvement category. And of course high priced category as well. We are all seeing gold prices only going up. So in a category like yours, how did you, right? And then this is also not a category which is very easy from an online perspective. You can't touch, feel the product, right? But at the same time, it's also a category where, again, similar to what Anurag said, right? We all want to wear something which is very unique. So the amount of SKUs you have, the kind of design banks I'm sure you are having, again, runs into thousands, right? So there's a lot of uniqueness that you also try and bring to the table, try and look at diverse consumer segments. You have the diversity of occasions also, right? Jewelry as a category is, multiple occasions are there where, people indulge in jewelry. So keeping all the diversity in mind, again, your experience of how you unlocked growth for your own brand, again, that would be great.
So good evening, everybody. Firstly, thank you for having me as one of the panelists here today. Everybody knows about Anjali Jewelers over here, I'm sure. But I'd like to tell you another thing. The reason I'm sharing this piece of information is because I'm going to talk about this also vis-a-vis the jewelry sector, is that, we have a chain of guest houses in Bengal called Indra. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is, primarily, we are in a space, for a person who's into retail or who's into a space where we are able to communicate with people is a beautiful place, because as retailers, we get to retail our story, by virtue of which we are able to connect with people. The fact that, we are able to connect with people is because they believe in the story in which we had believed at one point of time. And it is through that they want to be a part of the Anjali family. Now, as rightly, you've said that, yes, definitely, for high value items, people will think twice. But for us, we go by the tag called Anjali Jewelers is for all. So we just don't deal in diamond and gold jewelry. We also deal in costume jewelry, which, the ticket price is from, say, 400, 500 rupees. We have beautiful silver jewelry. So we cater to every strata of the society. Now what happens is, I've been constantly hearing Gen X, Gen Z, but for me, I think there's only one category, and that is beautiful people and beautiful women. So if a young girl is coming in, she's coming in with her mother, or she's coming in with her relatives to buy jewelry, or maybe she's coming just to buy jewelry for her own self. Or maybe, she's got her first salary and she wants to buy something for her mother or her father. So with jewelry, it's very emotional. And it is something which a person would like to try out, would like to wear, would like to see. And that's where, we come in. We try to tell a story to them, and the best part is our brand is positioned in such a manner that, people aspire. We try and always, make people aspire. We are present in various districts as on today, And I'm very surprised, when I visit my stores and I see the people around there. Today, the young generation and also a little, maybe elderly generation, when I say elderly, I mean in the 40s or 50s, everybody is so aware of everything. Thanks to technology, thanks to, various social platforms, people are aware of everything. So, earlier we would say, ki, oh, ye to, it's a small town, what will people really know? But today, I mean, people in various small towns are as much aware of the brand as much as people in the city. And everybody wants to be a part of it. So you get an opportunity to tell your story which you believed in. When we started in 1992, we were just one small store of 250 square feet odd. Today we have 33 stores. Now coming to the guest house business. Now the guest house business which we have tie-ups with various online portals. Now here's the funny part, which I was discussing a little earlier with everybody. In the last 2 months, we have seen that our bookings have gone up with walk-ins compared to online portals. So once again, it is about the experience, it is about the word of mouth. So what we have realized is, it's just not technology. You cannot forget the fact that, we are made of flesh and blood. So wherever we are catering to people, we are always prioritizing on services, on emotions, and on best practices, as well as their experience. The first thing, when we speak about something, it's like, oh wow, we had a lovely experience. How was the movie? Oh, it was fantastic. How was the movie? Oh my God, it was so bad. I couldn't I just couldn't sit through it. So the primary point is experience. So when it comes to experience, it has to be a very hands-on experience. It has to be a hands-on thing, otherwise we can't grow. I mean, technology is at its place. Nobody can take that away, today or in future. But what is extremely important is human relationships, the way you deal with the client, the way the product speaks for itself, of course, but you have to really communicate. So we are always telling a story. As retailers, I personally believe that we are blessed to retell our story. Thank you.
No, I like that, right? Retell your story. I think that's an important insight. I think as an economy also, if you see, India has probably been a very product-led country, right? I mean, people used to buy into a product and a brand. Later, they've started buying into experiences probably after Amazons of the world, right? They've got pampered and then they saw that, okay, we are also valued consumers, so experience mattered. But I think you brought an important point. Now it's about storytelling, right? Okay, why should I buy into your product? How does it emotionally connect, with me as a consumer? So people want to understand the context beyond the context. And I think that's what you're catering to. So again, that's an important insight for all of us here. So thank you so much. Now let me come to Ma'am Khushbu Hugh. You again deal in a category which is, of course, high touch, high involvement in some sense, consumer electronics, but at the same time, probably commoditized, right? Where there are a few brands, it's a lot of, it's high competition, and then you have to retail in that environment. So you're getting squeezed between the consumer and probably the brand on the other side. So, your experience of how did you unlock growth in an environment, like that?
Good evening, everyone. I am Khushbu Khosla Gupta from Khosla Electronics. I'm sure most of you must have heard me whenever you would have gone out electronics shopping. So yes, when it comes to diversity, I think I have even the price range and people, diversity is very high. So I have products in my showrooms which are from maybe 500 rupees to somewhere around 10 lakhs as well. I also have a rickshaw puller coming into my showroom, and I also have multi-millionaire coming and making his new house. So I think, and especially when it comes to my products, my Samsung or Sony is no different from my competitors. So I don't have a very big product differentiation as well. But I think what I have learned, my father started this business in 1987, and we were the first people to get the concept of a retail chain. Stores that were there before us were maybe 20, 25 years before us. They had started electronic showroom, but they only had 1 or 2 showrooms. So that time, the first thing that we wanted to get into picture was the ease of buying. So I would remember everyone would, like my father would say, everyone would just come down to Dalhousie, which would be a hub of buying, and people would go there and buy electronics. So the first thing that, at that time in 1987, or I should say 1995, the first time he unlocked the growth challenge was with not the customers coming to the showroom, but taking your showroom to the customers. So now I think in every neighborhood you will find a Khosla Electronics, maybe in every 5 to 10 kilometers you will find a store. So that was the first challenge that we took over, and we said that, let us give the customers the ease of coming and buying at every neighborhood shop. They don't have to really take out time and go to one city center where they can go and buy. Now, secondly, maybe in 2024, especially after pandemic, I think electronics is no more a luxury item. It's a necessity item. Now, depends how much you are spending on that necessity becomes a luxury or a necessity. But what we have majorly done to unlock growth and get more footfall is we made the ease of buying very nice. Like, for a mass customer where he wants to buy something but might not have the means to buy it right now. We've made a lot of offers and deals that are alluring and easy for him to buy. For example, say a 0 down payment scheme where he has to pay nothing. He can take it home on an EMI and starts paying from the next month. So when deals and offers like this come, I think we get a lot of footfall, we acquire a lot of new customers. Also for them, it becomes easier to buy and plan their budgets. Secondly, I think right now with the age and time we live in where everything is available online, sometimes even within 10 minutes, I think your customer service and experience does not have to be good, it has to be legendary. From the time he steps into the showroom, he should feel like a king or a queen, because otherwise what's the purpose of coming out shopping, right? He can do it at home, even 2 o'clock in the night. He doesn't really have to take out time from his busy schedule or the entire family. They don't have to take out that time anymore. But I think that if you really want to tap into that customer and have more footfall in your showroom, then you just have to be legendary. You cannot even be afford to be good anymore. So that is one factor that I think will differentiate everyone in every business, is that your Google reviews should be very good. Your consumers should be happy from the time they get in to the time they go out, and the word of mouth is going to spread. And of course, pop and mom stores, offline, online, everything is here to stay. We are in India, and that's the biggest part of being in India. Itni population hai, everything works. You just have to know your consumers, right?
I think very nice.
And yes, I don't think you're the youngest on the panel. I am 34, so. Oh, you are? Ah.
No, but that's important and good insight, right? You spoke about how you leverage on proximity to be able to go closer to the customer and give them that ease of buying. Because yours also is a high working capital investment category, right? You can't just keep opening stores. There's a lot of working capital, and in a category like yours where demo products and all typically get sold at a discount, you still have to stock a lot beyond that. So that's, getting the business model right there. I think it's kudos to you, right? So thank you for sharing that. Now let me come to Mr. Shirshendu. From your perspective, your customers, you again have a different kind of a customer. Maybe it's more B2B for you, right? So again, in that context, how did you look at growth? Are there any specific business model, operating model changes you brought in the way you looked at business, and any advice to our audience on that?
At the outset, I would like to thank Rai for having me in this esteemed panel. I am privileged to be a part of this panel because, I can see a lot of faces who are the creator of the distinguished brands and the custodians of the legendary brands.
All the legendary brands in Calcutta.
Yeah, absolutely.
In West Bengal.
Frank Rose, Khadims. So it's a privilege. Having said that, I am the odd person out in this panel because I don't run a retail business. I am involved with the event and experiential marketing. But, and represent a company called Trailblazing, which is also a 4-year-old company. So,
So in that sense, specifically, given that you were also from that event marketing perspective, right? I think one of the biggest things that is also changing is how do you also make these changes to the way you communicate with different consumer segments,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
How do you personalize and create that differentiation in your communication is becoming very, very different because people are not brand loyal
Extremely
anymore.
important, extremely important. But if you talk about the unlocking the growth, then I must say that one should focus on the growth of x-axis as well as y-axis, because protection and retention is one of the most important thing in any business. The growth will only happen when you are basically securing your base. And then that's your foundation that we keep on building year on year. Then we plan for the growth in percentage. It might be we can take a jump of 10% or a 20% or a 30% growth. So the growth happens in two ways. One is certainly exploring new markets, exploring new products for the diversified, demography that we have, diversified psychographics we have for the target audience. And we have to be extremely critical about the communications because India is getting urbanized quite rapidly. Couple of years back, we used to have 4 metros. Now I think we are having 8 metros. Probably in the next 4 years, we will be having 12 metros, cities. So, and there is a distinct, migration of brand adaptability, you can say. For example, I can see HNIs were always there into the luxury brands and all, okay, Louis Vuitton or maybe a Ferragamo or something like that. But what is interesting, that HIG, which is higher income group, in Indian language, what we refer them as a upper middle class or higher middle class, they are getting into international brands as well. They are exploring for those brands and all. Interestingly, if you see, the UIG, upper income group, and the MIGs, they are actually migrating into Indian brands like, Van Heusen or, Louis Philippe or something like that. And LIG, those who were not very much exposed to the styling world and all, or, styling, lifestyle products like, televisions or mobile phones, they are slowly migrating into, they are going to M Bazaar or Bazaar Kolkata or Style Bazaar to get their fashion crave, satisfied. So, exploring new market and nurturing new audience is extremely important for the growth. But before that, one should ensure that the soil is fertile for plantation. It is also very, very important. It's not like that I have money, I go and, open a 5 restaurant or 5 outlets in Bardhaman and all. Study is extremely important. And communications. Since we are going a little bit away from the metro cities and tier 1, tier 2 cities, we need to communicate with a lot of infographics because they are not that literate. So we have to attract them with a lot of, visual, innovative visual advertisements and all. And we have to be very, very much, emotionally connected with them. You need a lot of, it's not only the digital world. Digital world is connected to a segment of the audience. But you have to be very, very, very careful about the communication with those people who are not belonging from that digital world. There are still substantial population. So communication, activations, interactions, these are the very important part. Why? Visual engagement, like, everybody in India, we are very emotional. So we have to be emotionally connected. We have to go to them. We have to understand them. We have to make them important. Then only you can stay relevant for the brand. And then you can unlock markets after markets for your growth. This is my take on the unlocking growth part.
No, that was great. So what you said is lay the groundwork very well. Soil should be fertile. So even before you expand, understand the consumer, understand their aspirations, their behaviors, go into a bit of detail. And I think second important message you're giving is to connect emotionally, the visual, and of course that is now pretty much obvious, right? Whether it is Instagram, and people are on videos, right? Pictures, videos. I think text as a medium of communication is probably going down. Even Gen AI is now generating images, so there's a lot of focus around that. But that's also important and valid, right? So thank you for that. Now let me come to Mr. Ritik. You are in a category which is like, again, like Mr. Shishendu said, right? Fast fashion, right? Somewhere fashion aspirations keep changing. At the same time, everybody has a very different, interest, different kind of outlook towards a product. Some people, of late in footwear, for example, I used to always think, who will be wearing a white, white colored sneaker, right? Because that was like my kid shoe in my school. But today everybody wears a white sneaker, right? That probably must be one of your highest selling SKUs as well. So, trends change pretty fast. Different consumer segments have, again, different kinds of behaviors with that. Again, men, women, kids. So, again, what are your experiences of unlocking growth in your category, which is like, again, fast fashion?
Yeah. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So, I'm Ritik Roy Burman. I'm representing Khadims. So Khadims is a pretty old brand now. I mean, it's been there for decades, and we have expanded quite a bit across the country. We have got 850 outlets. So what I would like to say is that, like at a point, maybe 10 years back, it was more like if I open stores, I'll get that growth sale number. But today, we are basically a strong brand in eastern and southern India. So we are there in most of the locations in eastern and southern parts of the country. So now if I talk about growth, a lot of the focus has gone into, like many of the panelists said, product innovation. When it comes to our category, it's fashion. So, previously, like there are different categories like chappals, there is sandals. So, like if I can give a small trend, like nowadays people are not wearing that much of, the traditional chappals, which probably our uncles and our fathers used to wear, but they are preferring clogs type of products. So, you need to invest in those kind of designs more. Fitness is big right now, so the appetite for the Indian consumers to consume sports shoes has increased way more than what it used to be. So we are focusing in all these upcoming product categories. Like we recently launched athleisure garments as well, the stuff that you wear at gyms and stuff. So we are trying to unlock growth like this in many of the, through these product innovations in our stores. Apart from that, people are, as many panelists said, people are coming out to shop for a good experience. So, the stores are being renovated. So that's one thing. We have done a rebranding exercise also before COVID that gave it a more younger and fresher look. So these kind of things have been done, and now since, just last point is, I somewhere feel that since I'm in the third generation and a lot of the expansion has already happened in our stronger markets, I feel that since every region in India is so big, even if you are a regional player, eastern, southern, there's a lot of room to grow in your existing markets only, through product innovation and giving a good experience. I also don't personally believe in growth at any cost. Like you go into some area and like open too many expensive stores. So this is the thing. Thank you.
No, that was great, right? So you mentioned three things. Product innovation, I think, is adapting products to the needs of the consumer, changing needs of the consumer is very important to not just survive but also scale growth, right? And you also mentioned the entire aspect of experience, and you said even fitness and health as driving growth, fitness, health, sports, right? In fact, we have done a study at Deloitte where we have estimated that there are about 150 million people in India who are consciously active. Now, consciously active means a lot of customers for you as a segment, because these people who are walking, right? Who need a walking shoe. Of course, they're going to the gym. That's like really active, right? But they're conscious, so they're probably doing yoga. But there are about 150 million people in India who are consciously active. They may be buying into a product, may not be buying into a product today, but that's a huge consumer segment and is only expected to grow going forward, right? So yeah, point taken. Now let me come to Tanay, you. Again, you are also in a category which is probably high touch, feel, little bit of fashion as well. Again, has a lot of emotional connect to the consumer, given that it is, furnishings, decor. So again, how did you unlock growth in this segment, particularly post-pandemic, when there's a lot of interest in people looking at, let's say, buying homes, looking at second homes as well. There's a lot of growth in second homes, and then there's a lot of aspiration to get into higher segments of consumption, right? So somebody who used to look at 2 BHKs have moved up into 3 BHK, 3 BHKs are moving to 4 BHK. Your work from home has impacted the way consumers have looked at home furnishings. So again, your thoughts and experience of how you unlocked growth.
Absolutely. I'm Tanay Agarwal from Skipper Furnishings, one of the oldest home furnishings brand. It's a small company, not a very large company. We have about 25 stores, mostly in the Northeast, East, Central and South India. So for us, we very strongly believe that India, no matter we talk about millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Ys, India inherently is a very emotional country. We, as people, the way we have brought up, we have that emotional connect to us. And that is something that we as a brand also focus a lot on, is building connect with our consumers. So that has been one of the major growth stories for us, to having the connect. Wherever we go, we try to connect with the audience, build communities. By building communities, I do not mean the Insta and the YouTube community that we talk about these days. Those obviously are a part of the social media marketing bit. But we talk about communities in the way that we in our industry, we have a lot of influencers by architects, designers. So we tend to bring them together, host regular events, get them to travel to our head office, flagship stores. We take them out for a drink. So we have our partners present in each of these stores who engage with the architects, designers, and also the end consumers in a day-to-day basis to build these communities, bring them together. And by building communities, we are able to get loyal, strong customers for ourselves. So that has been one of the biggest strengths for us in whichever region we have gone to. Secondly, as we all know, post-COVID, there was a big boom in the travel industry. So I think the entire India was traveling the world. Be it tier 2, tier 3 cities, people have been traveling. They are very well aware. With OTT coming in, they are very well aware of the international trends coming in the market, because they are following a lot of series which are there with very well made homes. So in order to capture that market, we came up with a new brand called the Ombre Story. We launched this last year. We opened 7 stores in Ombre Story. So at this brand, we focus on giving a stylized service to the customer. So as we were discussing internally also, today retail is all about experience. People come to stores to get the experience, to get the knowledge and get the consultancy, not just to buy a product. Especially home being something that is a high SPI product, like home furnishings is comparatively high SP, and it also has a fairly large turnaround time. You don't buy home furnishing every day. It's usually is once in a year, or maybe for if when you talk about the entire home renovation, once in 5 years. So people would want to spend that time, visit a store, and get that consultancy in order to make the right choice. So since Indian consumers have traveled the world, their aspirations have risen. Second homes have also grown. Real estate has been on a boom. At the same time, spending on home interiors. We've seen big brands like Homeland, Live Space come in and make fortunes in the hard furniture space. Similarly, in the home furnishing space, we are trying to achieve a design-driven approach, wherein we give the end consumer what they're actually looking for. So we have a design studio set up. We invest a lot on these developing mood boards design and presenting a curated concept to the customer. We don't want a consumer to be lost, and we don't believe in or they call policy of Amazon. We believe in a curated collection and give the customer what they want rather than get the customer to come to a store and get lost. So these two things I think are major growth stories for us, adding on to what all my panelists have been talking about.
No, thanks, Tanay. I think you brought about a very important point on building communities, right? Because I think today, if you need to go closer to that consumer, you need to understand their interests in a very deep way, engage with them in a very deep way. So getting those, AIDs or even consumer personas correct, and then building that community mindset, I think is an important lever to win in the market, right? So while I think our time's up, I'll just close the panel with each of you just sharing. Question is the same, so I'll just ask each of you to answer. The question is, we spoke a lot about unlocking growth in the past, but now if I were to just ask you, what are those one or two things, and it can just be one sentence or one word, that you are sure that you will invest in or watch out for, to unlock growth going forward, right? What would that be? So one or two, things that you are sure you will do or probably, consider to unlock growth going forward.
So for me, staying relevant with you, staying true to the roots, building the emotional connect, at the same time being relevant with use of technology, AI and data. So technology for us is going to be an enabler. It is not going to be the only bit, but it's definitely going to be an enabler, and we are going to be investing a lot on technology. At the same time, being true to the roots, what we stand for.
Got it. So technology and staying true to roots.
Yeah, for us it would be technology as well, of course, and along with that constant passion for the serving the customer, as well as the passion for the product that we sell, so that we are able to offer all the new designs that the consumer is asking nowadays.
So design-led and tech again.
I think from my category, I would like to spend more on my workforce. I think I would... People, because I think the people who are working for us have to be more trained. I think the more we spend on that, the consumer experience in my showrooms would automatically increase, because of course when it comes to showrooms, they're just not made of bricks and walls. The most important thing are people in it. So I have to train my people accordingly, because I'm there in urban, I'm there in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and the needs of consumers in every segment are very different. So accordingly, I think going further, I should spend on the training of my people in the showroom. That is one very important factor. Of course, adding to all technology and everything that's been said.
But people, I think, is very critical. Yes, Mr. Gautam.
So I echo the same sentiments. Being in pharma retail, it's very difficult for us to differentiate in the product.
Yeah.
So we have to differentiate in the service, and to differentiate in the service, like my colleague said, we have to invest in training, invest in our people, and obviously we have to invest in technology, because with the help of data, you can know your customer better. You can then differentiate by giving them a personalized experience.
Perfect. Thank you.
For me, I think we will definitely be investing more into human relations, customer relations, and give priority to what the customer wants, so that, digitally or as a walk-in option, we always remain as a top-of-mind brand. So we would like to communicate with them and keep on telling the story, so that they are all the time thinking about us and getting the relation more deep.
Perfect. Again, people and customer.
For us, we are very sure we are going to invest in three things. The first is continuing product innovation, because ours is an experiential category. The second would be to expand distribution. A lot of people here on the panel have done it way before us, but for us, distribution remains key. And the third would be to get the same customer to keep coming back again. So those are the three things we are most
So
concerned
focus
about.
on repeat customer buying.
In sweets industry, we believe that the growth lies on the blending tradition with innovation. So that is the most important thing, I think so.
Great. How can you manage, how can you blend tradition with innovation?
No, my understanding is very simple. And with regards to investment, I believe that, nobody can win the game alone. So you need a team. So definitely investment in the team training is extremely important. And further to that, we must bring everybody on the same page. That's also a kind of investment. If it's financial investment or time investment, we don't know. But it's also an investment. Everybody needs to complement each other. Then only the growth can happen. Then only the, thing is happen. So I think most importantly, investment should be done at home. And definitely we are doing enough for promoting in the this thing. But I believe if you really want to invest, develop a team that can win the battle.
Great. No, I think a lot of people said people. So people and technology and of course relationship with the customer, right, and product, right. So these are the 3-4 things. But thanks so much. Thank you all for being a part of this panel. It was great interacting with you. I'm sure the audience also would have taken some insights away, and I'm sure they're going to apply some of this in their own businesses. So thank you once again. Thank you everyone for being a nice audience.